Hello there, I'm Sean Bond.
Hello there, everybody. Welcome to the show. I have a special guest on today, Laura Eisenhower. She is a researcher, author, a medical and intuitive astrologer. She is an international acclaimed speaker who has presented her work worldwide. Laura is the great-granddaughter of President Dwight D. Eisenhower, and she reveals exopolitical information about his administration that has been largely held in secrecy. She is considered by many to be one of North America's leading researchers and experts on health, exopolitics, alchemy, metaphysics, astrology, and galactic history. Welcome to the show. We are honored to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me, Sean.
We met in the Orlando event, and we hit it off, and yeah, there's been interesting conversations back and forth. She's doing many events all across the country. It's hard to get a hold of her, but I had a session with her. It was really wonderful. It was really in depth into the knowledge of my chart and who I am, and how my destiny kind of unfolds. I kind of want to do a lot more of what she does in readings. Can you tell us what are some of the things that you offer to people when they are looking for readings?
Yeah, so I just been doing astrology readings for about 20 years or so, maybe more. And yeah, I look at the progressions, the transits, obviously the natal aspects, and I really pay attention to like the north and south node. What is your soul journey all about? Um, what's interesting about the north and south node is that on a soul level, we know that we're here to integrate polarity. So we come in with the south node and we seek the north node, right? And in doing that, we find, wholeness, but it pulls us out of our comfort zone. And when we pay attention to these kind of things in our lives, we advance ourselves. We answer to our soul calling. We just develop our abilities like intuition and being able to be more telepathic. And we recognize that a lot of the events that take place in our lives are really challenging us to upgrade and advance ourselves and expand our consciousness. And so the chart helps me to assist a person in navigating their journey. Where are their patternings that stunt your growth or block you or stop you in your tracks? Where have there been manipulative forces, right? Because the planetary energies get manipulated. There's dark weaponry that has influenced the planetary grid network, things like the Saturn moon matrix and just the inverted matrix can create a whole different experience for us on a human level. So I like to use astrology as a tool to see, like, where are you struggling with that part of it and what is showing up in your chart to help you to move through the initiations and growth periods and breakthroughs to begin to, find your sovereignty and your own personal truth and your own soul calling. So focusing on the nodes is an important part of it, and also your relationship with the outer planets like Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. And I like to go into the medical aspect of it because the planets influence or just have a really strong connection with our organs, our endocrine system, our circulatory system, everything about our bodies. And all the different houses, 12 houses, 12 signs. We have 12 strands of DNA. And then there's the 13th sign of Psionics connected to the ether element, right? So each zodiac sign is either earth, air, fire, or water, right? But then there's ether. So yeah, bringing in the medical aspect of it, some of these patternings that we see in the chart and the physical symptoms that people experience, the chart can help us to get to the root of where that might have come from. And yeah, it just has so much to reveal. And with my background and just I just have a lot of knowledge about herbs and supplements and just different kinds of medicines that can help with some of these patternings, so that instead of relying on the pharmaceutical industry or the medical industry and giving your power away, you can gain self-knowledge and awareness and get to know yourself better when you face things like physical symptoms or adversity, and, treat yourself with, plant medicines that will help you to really heal on every level: emotional, physical, spiritual, mental. So between the charts and, all the different recommendations that I can give people with like herbs, um, yeah, it's great to see people have breakthroughs and really connect to, their soul mission. The things that they might have felt were ridiculed or they just dismissed in their life because nobody took them seriously, just really helping a person to feel empowered. That's really my goal, is to just really switch people on to just who they truly are and what they came here to do, and like what is standing in the way, and how can you turn the negative patternings into um reminders of like where to like gain wisdom and reconnect with self-worth on your own terms, instead of things coming from outside of you and things that have been projected on you. How to move from the lower shadow sides of the planetary energies into the higher octaves. Like, for example, like the lowest level of Saturn would be control, tyranny, misuse of authority and power. But when you move through the different stages of Saturn and all the different tests and trials and tribulations that it throws you through, you begin to gain self-mastery. You begin to work with the law of structure, and you set rules and for yourself that help you to thrive, instead of the rules that are cast upon you that might actually suppress you and block you. So it's just a whole bunch of diving in deep and just looking at things in order to like get to the higher levels of what these, challenges, and where some of these harmonious aspects can, benefit us, so that we can repair our DNA template. Because, this junk DNA has been scrambled up, and we can rebuild it and reclaim our 12-strand tree of life structure, which is also connected to the healing of the planetary grid network. So
Oh boy, I love this. So you touched upon so many different subjects. I have to choose from all those at first. So, woo, candy star. Thank you for sending that. So, I have also found that there is a connection between the planetary consciousness and the micro-macro formation of all physical life in consciousness in the different micro realm spaces in abundance. Like if there are different planet structures, we might form differently as a species as we're evolving from the fetus. Uh, and there's imprintation in science for this, for like dewdrops that collect the imprintation of the energy emitted by the night sky, and being analyzed that program structurally as well. And there is different data missions through cosmic frequencies that have been able to go into, for those out there that are skeptical of this. A lot of this is based in science that has been explained in spirit before we understand and know this fully. And intuitives like yourself are able to tap in and find the patterns and the pattern recognition of the plant overlay to the elemental, to the planetary bodies, and the different connections with the representations in the human body. That is like a map of the universe. Is that correct?
yeah, it's all so connected. Yep.
Wonderful. What kind of health problems do you find shown in your experience with reading people's charts and understanding like patterns that have come up as a challenge for someone to overcome, that either they can overcome and they learn a great lesson and then teach that to the world, or
Yeah.
alter or whatever?
Well, it's very much the Virgo energy. It's like the house of physical health and lifestyle and work and routine. You know, what are your everyday habits? How do you live? What do you put in your body? What is your like self-talk? Because it's ruled by Mercury. It's an earth sign. So Mercury, the mind body connection, right? If we're dealing with mind control and indoctrination, then the mind is informing the body of things that the body might not actually really feel comfortable with. And that's why symptoms will begin to uh, start to happen. If there's a distortion or a programming or a belief system that the body's not in alignment with, it's going to produce symptoms. And so the opposite sign, which is Neptune, of Virgo, has to do with the multidimensional, the unseen realms, the unconscious, and the creative imagination. So what are we not seeing? You know, what are we just not tapping into um, to like begin to get to the root of why there's a physical symptom. So when you integrate that Neptune energy into the Virgo, which the people that are born with those nodes or, you know, that challenge or with those, you know, a lot of emphasis on those planets is like what a shaman would understand is that there's something in the energy field and the multidimensional and just in the imagination and in the unconscious that plays a part in how the physical expresses itself. So if there's distortions and programs and traumas that are unrecognized, the body is going to produce symptoms. And if you don't get to the root of it, you're only going to medicate it and you're never going to really heal or advance yourself. So how can we experience physical symptoms as an opportunity to get to know ourselves by getting to the root of it? What is that belief system or program or patterning that is causing my body to express itself in this way, you know, with physical symptoms? Maybe it's autoimmune, maybe it's cancer, maybe it's issues with your teeth, maybe it's you know, I mean, there's a whole slew of things, anxiety, everything. You know, if there's a lot of water energy in your earth house based in the time you were born, maybe there's a lot of depression, right? So you want to look at the elementals. Um, and yeah, like where is that rooted from? Family patternings, traumas from childhood. If it's connected to the South Node, maybe past lives, you know. So to really get to know the person and get to know the body, you know, you begin to create dialogue, you begin to breathe life into those places that are just sort of showing up as pain or afflictions or disease, when really it's just wanting to correct itself and wanting to heal through the Mercury body connection, the mental aspect of it, into finding thought forms that break free of those patterns and programs in order to inform the body of, you know, your authentic truth, your connection to the divine. And then you start to see transformation and healing start to take place. So to break through those patterns and unconscious programs and to see those traumas and expose them, you begin to change the energy of it. You begin to breathe in unconditional love, maybe forgiveness, maybe you're just acknowledging it or being able to come to terms with it instead of it just being something that the body has taken on and making you sick, right? So
Right. There's always deeper causes to things. I've been talking to God a lot, so they've been teaching me how to heal in various ways, and I've realized my healing method is getting faster and faster and faster. And they told me that you can create instant healing, and if you don't know if it's not instantly happening, then you need to know more about it. And questioning it like psychological archaeology, you can go deeper. Yeah, and you mentioned past lives in the South Node, and I've also I read into people's past lives, and I see that there's reasons behind the number that people are born on, the place they're born on, in their purpose, what they're here to do, the people they're surrounded with, all that. What do you see with people's birth date, and how would you like kind of go into like for people reading their past lives through their chart or however other method that you use?
Yeah, well, yeah, the South Node will give you information about what is kind of bleeding through, right? And obviously people are going to experience these things without having to know their chart. But if a person just wants to understand it a little bit more, maybe they don't have the memories, but they feel the patterns, or they just feel that, something is coming up for them that just has nothing to do with the way they were raised, right? You see a lot of people in families, you have your siblings, and you're having completely different experiences, even though you have the same parents. Um, so there's something unique to the chart that you're the day you were born and what you came in with, right? But, also how you interact with your environment is going to trigger certain areas of your chart as it progresses, right? And as we experience the transits. But the South Node part, if you have a person that has, for say, like a strong Uranus and Jupiter on their South Node, that's a really, really high vibration. So that person might actually be coming in from a higher dimensional sort of future timeline, like a star seed, right? Who's like really bringing in a lot of powerful activations and light codes. Or you might, have somebody who has a strong, Pluto square Mars. There might have been a lot of violent deaths, or just a lot of really difficult Earth lifetimes of war and stuff like that. Seeing things like trauma or family agreements, you'll see in the South Node. And then the North Node is, all right, well, where are you heading? What is important, for you to integrate? So on a soul level, we know that we want to integrate polarity and not be in duality. And that is ascension, is that we on a soul level know that that is our path. So when we look to sort of the opposite of, the South Node going into the North Node, sometimes a person might have a lot of personal planets on the North Node, and they might already feel into their destiny before they have to like live through all this life experience in order to like feel their destiny. So there's that scenario. And I know I'm kind of probably sounding confusing here, but
No.
if you have a lot of planets like on your North Node, which is your greater destiny in your personal planets, right, you're going to feel it right away. So those sort of people might be the ones that uh sort of understand at a very young age maybe what they're here to do, or they might just really feel like they can answer to their soul calling and not waste their time doing a bunch of other things, and get caught up in the matrix. Um,
Mm.
but whether there's a lot of planets on the South Node or North Node, as long as there's a lot of attention on those nodes, a person is going to have an easier time paying attention to what their soul wants for them in this lifetime. Now, a person that doesn't have any planets on the nodes doesn't mean that they're going to get all caught up in the matrix. They might just not have a lot of karma. There might not be a lot of bleed through from previous lifetimes. Might not be a lot of necessity to do something on a large level because maybe they already did in a past life. Maybe there's a sense of completion, right? The ones that are really caught up in the matrix, you're going to see more like Saturn squares, issues with outer authority and control, things that are playing on your self-worth, things that are influencing the first house, like the house of ego, because the ego is very easily groomed, and it's very easy for it to hold an identity that isn't true to its like soul. So you can tell, if there's a disconnect, from the soul. So everybody's different, and when you look at a chart, it's like it's just it tells a story, and it reveals something. And when you talk to the person to see where they're at in life, it becomes a co-creative experience. So I've experienced so many things, so it's really hard to just kind of break it all down in just an interview, because I've just read thousands and thousands of charts. But yeah, but a lot of emphasis on the North Node would just, put a lot of attention on, you know, a person being a lot more, soul centered. Um,
Mm.
and then doesn't always meet the standards of what society is asking for, right? Going through all the school systems, getting degrees and certifications, that person might wander off and disappear into the wilderness or go travel the world, or or have a big healing crisis, and spend a lot of time in self-reflection, right? They're more concerned about their soul development versus achievement in the physical plane. So, and sometimes, like I said, if there's not a lot of attention on the nodes, a person, doesn't mean they're not soul centered. It just might mean that they're coming in with kind of a clean slate. They might be coming in and not having a lot of earth experiences. They're not maybe coming in with a lot of, karmic bleed throughs that they need to sort out. So yeah, every person I read is like opening a fascinating book. It's like everybody is just so unique and interesting. It's wild. I have the most incredible experiences. I'm always blown away by the people I read. Yeah.
Me too. I have a lot of fun with it. I learn a lot. It's like a record that checks itself, because you can then go back in time with them and see what's going on, and compare it to other people's timelines. And I like that word you used, soul centered. Are are we to say that those that are not in alignment with their true path start creating health problems, like you were saying? And Ascension is that unique pathway designed for them, and that there's not just one path, but there is a more alignment kind of thing for every one individual, that if they come to it more and more, they feel it, like with love, excitement, joy, what they're passionate about, not constrained, free. What would you add to it? I also liked what you brought up with getting caught up in the matrix.
Right. Well, there'll be people that have illness, but they're unconscious. They're not going to explore the roots of it. They'll just go to a conventional doctor and do what the doctor says and go along with the protocols, chemotherapy or pharmaceuticals, right? Then you'll find somebody who has physical symptoms, who's an empath, who's very sensitive, who's sensitive to just all the frequencies and chemicals and toxins in our environment, and they might be sick. But it's more like that quote, it's no measure of health to be well adjusted to a sick society. So you can have very sensitive and awake people that are struggling with physical symptoms, right? Because they're sensitive to the fact that, yeah, this is a kind of a messed up world and it's hard to adjust to, right? So you got different kinds of illness. Some is just the healing journey of like how to be more shielded, more protected, and like putting, things in your body that your body agrees to, making sure that you go organic, or don't have a lot of chemicals in your products that you use at home. Some might not be as sensitive, but are still like aware, and, if you're hit with an illness, like what is your path? Are you going to get to know yourself more? Are you going to understand the root of it? Or are you going to go the conventional route? I think humanity was really tested with this pandemic stuff. What do you do when, a virus strikes that, could possibly take you out? Look at the solutions. Is that really the solution? No, that's making people sicker, right? So this is like a major test for humanity right now. Are we going to get to know ourselves better when it comes to health scares and go through the initiations? Or are we going to look at something outside of ourselves to answer to that'll get us more and more entwined with something that'll make us sicker in the long run? It might temporarily give us a sense of confidence because we're doing what we were told and we feel good about it, but that people are waking up like, whoa, what did I just do? Right. So, I mean, it's a mixed bag. Like you can have a really healthy spiritual person who's sick all the time. You can have a very sick person that is very unconscious, and or you can have a very healthy person that you see that isn't awake, and it's like they're not sick at all, but they're just they might have good genetics and it might work for so long, but eventually it might catch up with them because they're really operating under false light or some kind of programming. And then there might be some sort of event that happens, an accident or injury or a health crisis eventually, that helps them to like step back and, reevaluate. And that can be the awakening for some people. So those are always opportunities to either get more entrenched in the matrix or to wake up. And every adversity that strikes us, whether it's health or like a breakup or a loss of a job or like anything in life, we have the choice to get either more soul-centered or more like giving our power away. So it's not a one size fits all thing. Um, you know, then there's I don't know. I named a lot of scenarios like healthy people that are programmed, right? And then sensitive people that get sick, but they're awake, it just depends a lot, when you see the rising sign. If you have a lot of water, like if you are like a Pisces rising or have Neptune in your first house, then you're going to absorb and take on everything around you. And your sickness might not be yours. It might be what you've absorbed and taken on from other people because you're like wanting to heal them. So you take on whatever it is that they're feeling, or you feel their pain. And then, there's the unconscious patternings that, we inherit, societal programs, so when I look at a chart, it's just like, it's just a new experience each time. There's not one, it's like the person you're talking to, because you can have one person, two people with the same chart having a completely different experience depending on their level of consciousness. Are you experiencing these squared aspects, which are challenges and tension and difficult aspects? Do they make you feel victimized and defeated? Well, maybe for some people, that's how they feel. For other people, they might experience it as a catalyst, and it might actually strengthen them. It's a challenge that they actually overcome, and it's something that alerts them to, like seeking a better solution, right? So the squared aspects, a lot of astrologers would consider, oh, yeah, that's difficult. That's going to be difficult. That's harsh. It's kind of a challenge. But I see those as opportunities, like, is that personality or that person or that soul gonna crumble in the face of that and loop in those negative patterns or rise above? So the outer planets and the transits and the progressions will really show that. And just working with that person,
Wait, that makes you strong.
you can help switch them into from a victim to a warrior. That's what I love to do, is like move them out of victim consciousness and help them to see that challenge their soul wanted to experience, because in rising above it, you then become the teacher, you then become the guide. We wouldn't have lived through it or experienced it if we weren't meant to overcome it. So it becomes for me like just a way to just help change the perspective so that you can get the best out of your chart. Because I've seen some charts where I'm amazed, like it could be like wow, a really challenging chart, and that person's like a diamond, like all those challenges made them like an incredible person. Then I've seen like the most unbelievable harmonious like grand trines and everything's so easy, and that person's a mess because they haven't really been challenged and they took everything for granted, and they're like, you know, so it really depends on the person, and so interacting with the person and just kind of seeing where they're at, and then I feel into the planets, and because there's definitely like different ways to experience all these different aspects.
I like how you put that. Yeah, you talked about taking your power back and the different methods, both light, neutral, dark, and many other expressions, and evil, and has for gaining health or immunity and sustaining themselves. And it's not always the same at all, because at least in the way I read it, evil doesn't earn a lot of their authority or abilities; they steal them. So then that like goes into their looking really externally against the free will of others and taking and harming. And then those that either go inward or build up their immune system through external help in unity, such as through plant medicines of different types. I like to also work with those and read into their record and the planets they interact with. And some are even older than this planet or this realm and have been seated here in interesting ways, at least with what I read. They have certain abilities they can unlock, and in combinations with each other, and an invocation of the main consciousness collective of the spirit, a higher authority, to talk with you, it will trade with you some interesting abilities that are like a secret, like weird kind of a magical expression waiting for people to discover as a science. What has your experience with herbs been, by the way?
Oh, herbs?
Yeah. Do you
Oh,
suggest them for people for different things?
oh yeah, there's just so many amazing herbs. Mother Earth has everything we could possibly need to heal on every level. It covers all the elementals. I mean, our DNA, the nucleic acids of our DNA are elemental: earth, air, fire, water, ether. And so when plant medicines, connect to our elementals,
Mm.
and yeah, there's a lot of amazing herbs. I don't know what to say. Herbs that probably a lot of people haven't even heard of, that can help treat like PTSD, anxiety, and depression, that don't have horrible side effects like pharmaceuticals. Because we know a lot of herbs like dandelion or nettles or burdock, for the liver and kidneys and detoxing, and a lot of calming herbs like, chamomile or lemon balm or skullcap or ashwagandha. And
And they could be like teachers, and then we learn how
yeah, it just
they do. Yeah.
yeah. So if like I see like a really stressful aspect, in a chart, somebody with like a lot of PTSD, it's like, okay, here's certain herbs um that I can, help turn them on to. Yeah, I've been studying herbs my whole life, and I like to just look at just how it links into the astrology. And so like herbal astrology,
Mm.
and what is the person calling forth? So sometimes I'll throw some cards, and a person's like calling forth a particular herb, and but I work with the cards and I work with the chart to, help. And also like galactic, what are galactic origins and heritage, and
Nice.
the mother piece deck I've been working with for like 20 years. It like got me through everything. It's a circle deck. And between the astrology and the tarot, it's really easy to, well, not easy, but you
Easy
begin
to
to
let
start,
the reality talk to you through the.
yeah, it's like so much gets revealed. And then
Mm.
just like the medicine, it's just is there to just like treat these things that like our body just is in harmony with. It just has receptors for, right? With pharmaceuticals, you might treat a headache, but you'll have like 100 other terrible symptoms.
And then it'll
When it
build
comes to
up over
herbs,
time.
you're not going to have horrible side effects.
Yeah.
Some you have to be very careful with. You don't want I mean, there's some that you don't want to do every day. But the side effects are nothing compared. It's just how you work with it. It's just how much of it you need and for how many days. It just you begin to find your flow with it, and that's what I help people to do, is find that connection with what's going on with their charts, what's going on with the cards, and then the herbal and recommendations. Because the thing is, stress and certain patternings will leach nutrients and minerals and like things out of our body. And we know things like the liver stores anger, the lungs store grief, right? So when we're like off, um and we get to the root of it, and we have plant medicine to help us to recover from it, we're really like healing. And that's not the kind of world that we were given growing up. We go to the doctor, and it's just like, it's wonderful to get back in touch with how we can just take charge and really learn how to heal ourselves, and know that Mother Earth provides us all the medicines we could possibly need, and the helpful oracles to work with, and astrology to, really tap into the patternings we're born with, so we can begin to rebuild our DNA and heal our DNA. Because the astrology chart has a lot to do with, our DNA, epigenetics.
Mm. Yeah. And some of the things I've learned from the plants, and like, how are all these plants existing that can heal all these different things, and like they're like there for they. I've heard quotes, I forget where they come from. They're like, there's a plant for every type of illness in existence. And when I asked them in telepathic, which I'd love to go into in a bit, uh, they say that they're like a crystalline DNA antenna that receives a higher type of frequency that is the origin, connects to the origins of healing in a crystalline lattice that protects the expression and allows it to manifest. And there's different combinations in their collective consciousness going back that they formed for the different symptoms, and they actually form as a kind of polarization to the illness. I've even found out illness is older than healing, as in like different sources going back, because it didn't need to exist before any of the problems existed, and then the light use that to evolve even further because it became a challenge to make it grow. So that's like the challenge of dark to light in the chess game of constant evolution. Uh, I'd love to ask you about the I Ching and then telepathy, but feel free to just like go into the I Ching so you like talk about your expertise in it and some other expertises with the time you have.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, the adaptogen herbs, exactly what you were just saying. It's just Blue Lotus is one of my favorites.
Yeah, I got a bunch of that. I love it. It's great for
Yeah.
dreams.
Yeah, just opening the third eye. I just can't even believe sometimes I sit at night and the things that I see and the visions and the spirit energies that come and visit me after using those herbs. I'm like, whoa. Um, we have that third eye to open, and yeah. So when we think about technology, it's like our physical body is such an advanced, if you want to call it technology on an organic biological level, and these herbs can help open up chakras and pineal gland and all these things, and just really just take you on quite the journey. And getting in touch with all that is really good. So yeah, so I Ching, what about the I Ching?
Can you tell us a little about your history with it and what kind of thing do you offer it as a reading, and what other kind of readings do you offer?
I don't do I Ching readings for people. I could. I mean,
You do them for ETs?
for ETs. Do an
It
I
said
Ching reading
people.
for,
Yeah, yeah.
what did I say?
I don't do them for people, so I'm like, okay, I gotta be ET. So
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, so the I Ching, I think I have the book here. I like in high school, like gravitated to the I Ching. I don't even know who like introduced me to it, but it just found me. And it was my guidebook. I just did so many like heck, readings for myself, toss coins constantly, and I was writing on pieces of paper all the hexagrams and the 64 hexagrams, the I Ching, and oh yeah, it just blew me away. I did it so much that I almost memorized the book, and it just taught me so much about myself and when I was just in difficult situations. And I mean, some of the translations you have to kind of like, you know, but no, it's just amazing. Just I Ching.
I and my friend Chris did a little show on like the code number for 64 and with the I Ching, the 64 squares on the chessboard, which go back to a game invented by the gods in Sanskrit, and the 64 codons, and then some like thing with the cube matrix, and there's some cool things with the reality with it. Cool.
Right.
What other types of readings do you do for people?
Well, just really just the astrology, and I can work with the cards. And I used to do more like I went to a clairvoyant institute, and I would just, tune into a person's, energy and read their chakras and past lives. But I like to, look at the data, the star charts and the cards. So but because I did a lot of those kind of clairvoyant readings, that comes into it. I can intuit and like really feel into a person and connect into them. And then, seeing the charts and working with the cards and just, tuning in, it's just kind of like, yeah, it's just, what you get in a reading. Mostly I just do a share screen. I'll put the chart up and, help the person understand their chart and then throw some cards and look into just the herbal astrology, the galactic history, and I don't do the past life readings as much anymore because it's really difficult to do it, virtually and online. It's better to do it when you're like really with a person. I'm not probably gonna go there. I think people that do QHHTs, like that's a really good path for people to go, but what I do is just, really understanding the body and the patternings of your life and what medicines would be good for you. And, but it will tap into, the soul as well, but not as in depth as like a QHHT session. But, I definitely, feel these tools. Yeah, I'm amazed at the feedback I get from people. It's just like life-changing, like really good feedback.
Right.
Because it's a lot to explore, like the enormity of all our, past lives. It's just,
Yeah.
but when you need to just like really check in and understand like, what's going on and like what your body really needs, yeah, it's like good to get a like check in and see what's going on.
Mm, nice. Yeah, I agree. And all these different people, healers, have all these unique perspectives, and they're creating like fractals of the universe, expanding into a whole new territory. So it's wonderful to see. What kind of advice and oh, what were some pivotal breakthroughs that you can imagine in your mind and go back to that comes to you in your life that like helped you go towards your ascending path, your divine path, angelification, for those that are looking for the similar kind of direction?
Oh man, in my own life journey.
Yes.
Oh, I think just around high school when I had no direction, like I just wasn't a very good student, skipped class all the time. I wasn't getting good grades and sneaking out, going to rock concerts or whatever. Um, I just decided to go into the wilderness and just explore consciousness and just go on my own journey,
Hmm. So break away from the perceived matrix of things trying to control the person to be what they want them to be.
Yeah,
So,
it's like if that's not really resonating, if you feel like, you're supposed to find this or that, you know, something else could completely open up. And it did for me. It's like, oh wow, I could just go train and go into the wilderness and become a wilderness expedition leader, and that's what I got certified in. Um, and just, you know, plant medicine, and I ran an organic shipping delivery company for chemically sensitive people,
hmm.
taking uh, organic food and produce to people who couldn't leave their houses because they were sick. I would deliver it to them. And, it's like just following your heart, following just, like, I don't know. I'm not sure I'm answering this very well.
Oh, you're doing great.
Just, it's just move through life and, what inspires you and like what I'm amazed that some of the things that I've done and the jobs I've had and the things I've, yeah, running that Living Earth organic food shipping delivery company, and just the wilderness stuff is like a big, yeah. And I didn't think I had any direction. I was like, where am I heading? I, I just didn't resonate with the whole college thing. But everything about healing and, like, eating clean food and, getting in touch with Mother Earth and knowing how to survive, that really inspired me. And that's what that's the direction I went in.
Mm. So like all those things
Then
are
I
connecting to
had
Earth
kids, and
more.
what's that?
All of those things are like connecting to Earth more in her heart, and like becoming more like one with her, and the expressions that are outside of the painted matrix of how society is supposed to be.
Yeah, if you feel that that's not really working for you, there's so much with just connecting in with all of that. That lifted me up and learned a lot.
And,
And
and
what's that?
I was gonna say, I've seen you on like forums and things, be in a lot of events. So you seem to travel a lot, is that right?
Hmm.
How's that? Do you get to have fun and explore and see more of the world? And what are some of the interesting what's the some of the places that you love the most in traveling?
Yeah, well, after all those things and working and becoming a public speaker, bringing a lot of information to, yeah, I've gone on a lot of travels. So China, Hong Kong, Istanbul, just Turkey, just,
Really?
yeah, just all sorts of events, sharing my my stuff. I don't.
So are you having any up and coming events that you would like people to know about if they want to go see you?
Yeah, I'll be going back to England, Glastonbury in September, and I don't know. Um, most of the conferences I'm going to be doing are just in the United States.
What kind of things do you find yourself speaking about, and types of conferences are you going and speaking at for people?
What's that?
What kind of what kind of things do you find yourself speaking about the most, and types of conferences that you're called to speak at?
Yeah, a lot about this Ascension, things that happened in the Eisenhower administration that uh, hasn't been revealed before. A lot about what we've been talking about, just our DNA and everything about what it holds, these higher harmonic universes and
Ooh, I agree with that.
astrological aspects that are happening currently, Pluto moving into Aquarius, and just all the dark weapons and how to weaponize it. And I mean, there's just a lot of different topics.
I listened to your presentation at the Orlando event. It like compared to all the others, it was very refreshing to me.
Which
I
one?
The one or the first Orlando one that so, whatever Galactic Informers thing that we met at. And I love getting my mind blown. And I like people that talk fast because I can perceive for it fast, and I also talk fast, and I kind of have to slow myself down. Like, you know how it is. And you went full pace and put as much information and value into your presentation as possible. And I love that. Oh my gosh. And I could tell a lot of people were like blowing their minds. So it was fun. So thank you for putting so much information into your presentations. It definitely worth it for those out there that want to go see you Laura in person. She puts a lot of effort and value into them, and you can tell from the years of research that she does like this. Well, this is a very good representation of her, but she's not even giving you like the big stuff here in this video.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot that I always upgraded and take it to the next level every year. So this next year, yeah, it's like 2024. Yeah, there's a lot coming together that I'm going to be presenting. So I'm not gonna spill it out all yet,
Yeah,
but
of course. Can you give us any little hints, but not like giving the whole thing, just to like, ooh, for people so that they, they get their drawing to come.
oh gosh. Well, my book's going to be coming out, so it's called Awakening the Truth Frequency, and I just think this is a year with Pluto moving into Aquarius where I don't know, I just feel this rebirth and just this transformation and just
Mm,
this just I don't know, something really really good is happening.
mm,
And
I
yeah,
agree.
so with my book coming out and it's like in the face of whatever the next psyops or false flag or like whatever the next attack on humanity is, it's like we're just gonna be, standing, real strong in alignment with what actually is happening, which is the organic ascension timeline that is advancing us and awakening us to something really beautiful.
Mm,
And so diving deep into all that is what I'll be sharing a lot of the different planetary aspects like Neptune and Saturn and Pisces and Jupiter and Uranus and Taurus and Pluto moving into Aquarius. It's just like um there's a lot to look forward to in this year ahead. And I'm like, yeah, I
fantastic.
almost feel like 2024 is more like about embodiment and celebration. It's like we've been processing so much information for so long,
Mm,
it's like um now I really feel like it's like real clear and obvious. What we have to do is
mm,
people might put a lot of attention on like elections, but I'm really like supporting people like Dr. Shiva and
mm,
just, like what can we do as people
mm.
in our communities, taking on leadership roles and just like coming together and just working with each other to just, flip this around and just like be done with this madness of whatever the next virus or pandemic bullshit. It's like it just seems like that world is done.
Yeah, yeah. I love looking into the concept of the future of potentials and the time, the free flowing timeline. Uh, and all the chess games and the votes on what will happen. I do find it will be fun for those that have awakened and that have prepared. A little bit chaotic for those that are still asleep, but like how 2020 woke up a really large amount of people because most people get awakened through betrayal or something negative happened to them and them having to get hyper aware so they can outcreate it. And then the light will is got out of the root chakra consciousness that was they were forced into in survival with 2020 and into sacral and creation and making parallel economies. I eventually see parallel legal systems, parallel media going strong, parallel financial systems. That'll be wonderful when we take more of our power back and as the people like individuals like yourself that are past all that, but this is the main collective consciousness, it like in more into their power and taking that power back from those that have stolen it, and then the parasite drains and they have less and less power to influence big events And then when they do, it just wakes up more people and they get pissed off, and then they're like trolling them all day with memes. So that'll be fun.
Yes. That's it.
How do people reach you and your website? And I know you had some things with YouTube, but do you have a YouTube still? I know you're on Rumble. What can you talk about?
Yeah, I'm not on YouTube anymore, but I'm on Rumble, and yeah, everything's on my website, cosmicgaia.org. On my homepage, you can see, where my Instagram, Telegram, Twitter, and Rumble accounts are, and I have a subscription thing, and I do Zoom events and mini readings and check-ins, and if you subscribe to my Cosmic Gaia thing, I can I do like Zoom events where I do mini readings and build community and just help people. You can text me if you have an urgency. I give you a little reading and help you just navigate with your chart. And yeah, so check it out, cosmicgaia.org. Most of everything I do is like on there.
Wonderful. And yeah, anything else you want to plug? Like can you name your book again? And then do you have any other books?
No, so just this one, Awakening the Truth Frequency. It's coming out in March. And you can find it on Amazon, pre-order it.
That'll be about like the upcoming events, or what will be the subject of that book?
Oh, the book is, it's just about just what it means to awaken the truth frequency. Like, oh yeah, it's a whole bunch of stuff about galactic history and timeline manipulation and our DNA and calling our power back, and a lot about my story, and just like, hey, come on, let's do this. Like, activate this, truth frequency, be true to yourself, love yourself, be true to yourself so that we can come together in unity, and activating all that. We can bust down the lies and the deceivers, right? Because if we're in the truth frequency, we're not going to fall for all this, all these deceptions and all these different things. So,
right, exactly. Yeah, so I don't want to keep you too long and all I know you got to do, but for everyone out there that wants to see Laura Eisenhower back for like our quantum businessman show and etc. in Symphony of Realities, and wants to talk because I want to ask her questions about telepathy, ET contact, star families, more psychic abilities, what she thinks of magic, and all kinds of cool things in the what's in the DNA. If you want to see more of that, smash that like, comment below, subscribe to both me and her Rumble channel, and hit her up for a session on her www.cosmicgaia.org. And go see her next coming events. Next one is in Glastonbury? Which one?
I think Florida, actually, New Life Expo in Florida in March.
Okay, cool.
Fairfield, Florida.
But you have a bunch, right?
Yeah, there's a few. Yeah.
Can you name some of them? So it's like, oh, look.
Yeah. Expos in Florida, and then San Rafael, California. I'll update my website, but yeah.
Yeah. Send me the links to that. And I'm Sean Bond of Psionic League. You can get me at psionicleague.com, Psionic League YouTube. I'm also on the different medias, Twitch, Rumble, all that. Facebook, if you want to hit me up. And I'm doing events coming up for Egypt tours. Sacred trip there down the Nile. It's going to be magical. We're going to upgrade to superhuman love. So sign up if you want to see that. And a lot of you all out there. And thank you so much for coming on, Laura. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
See you guys later. Have a good and cosmic day.
Awesome.